Kirk Hilliard.
And this is Rusty Byrd of the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are here with our Fairfax High School football and Prince William County. So basically Northern Virginia high school football preview as we head into the weekend of the regional finals. And we've got with us our special guest, Coach Keith Powell, who's been the head coach at Wakefield. This past year, he was on the staff at Alexandria City High School that was in the playoffs. And he just knows Northern Virginia. And he knows actually the whole state of Virginia being a 757 Crabber. So welcome to the show, Coach Powell.
Hey, thank you for having me back, guys. Appreciate it.
Keith. Oh, yeah. And then we got Jay Gholson, the godfather of Prince William County sports, and the guy that always says they don't want to take that bus ride, but he's also the voice of Freedom High School football and basketball. And right now, y'all might think Jay crazy, but everything he said about Freedom is very true. So welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. And of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that shirt. And of course,
nice shirt. Sharp dressed man.
My dog, Kirk Hilliard, co-host Phoebus and just the all-around sports nut. All right, guys, let's get into this. So we're going to be talking about mostly Class 6. All right, that's what we have. A lot of bigger schools up here. So let's go into the Class 6 A and B, which we're saying Fairfax, but we know that includes Falls Church, Alexandria, and Arlington schools. But the remaining 4 teams are from this county of Fairfax. So let's go over that. Keith, you're our expert. Let's go into the fact that, first of all, your team was in the playoffs and your first round loss was to Fairfax, right?
Right. And we lost to Fairfax. We also lost to South County, but a lot of people don't realize we're all in the same conference.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. So, that's right. Yeah.
But we didn't play each other this year, but next year we'll all, be playing against each other, which is hands down the toughest conference in Northern Virginia. In my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point, the Concord I thought was the toughest, but I don't think. They have some really good schools, but I think y'all are right there. If not, definitely next year would be the best. But yeah. So, and you've got the experience. You've been up here coaching for probably over 20 years, I guess.
Yeah, 26 years.
Yeah,
wow.
26 years. So we'll talk about these specific teams and some of the games. But do we're all 3 of us are from the 757. The people down there just totally kind of dismiss football up here in Fairfax. Why don't you tell us? And you did it on our preview show. Including Prince William, and including Loudon. Do you think that a team from up here can win the state championship?
Yeah. That team from up here can win the state title.
I've seen
it done. I remember. I want to say 2003. I'm getting old. And Westfield played Lansdowne. And Lansdowne jumped all over Westfield. Mm-hmm. And they punted to a guy named Eddie Roll. He took that thing back and the whole game changed. Now, kudos to the 757 back home. Lansdowne went in the next year, mopped the floor with Robinson. But it's all high school football. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have those teams like Freedom, like Phoebus, like Ronald Carey in those years where nobody's going to touch them dudes. Yeah. But, Northern Virginia can get some W's.
Yeah. I remember watching Oscar Smith when they had that top 10 recruit, Robert Brown, that went to UVA. Mm-hmm. And they came up, they played Westfield in the state championship. Westfield ran it down the throat, just crushed them. So, it's even-handed. We want to dive in. Actually, let's expand upon that before we go into the Fairfax South County game, because you've seen both teams, Coach. But we're asking everybody to subscribe. So most of our viewers don't subscribe. Just hit up on subscribe. if you hit the bell, you get a little notification. People were hitting us up today. When's the VHSL preview coming out? But yeah, that's a good point, Rusty. One of the things I was thinking about before we go into Fairfax in South County is that down the 757, as far as up here, there's more kids doing different things. Soccer, baseball is big up here. Lacrosse gets some great athletes, by the way. I think Broad Run had a 4-star recruit that was a stud. He got a full ride to Maryland, and he didn't play football, but I think that there's more options. So that's the whole thing. Like Rusty and Keith, youth football down in Hampton is a big deal. If I had to put youth football up there against here, it would be no match because
whoa. What about PME?
No match, man. No match.
Oh,
I'm just saying, man. What the point is this, Jay, is that there's more kids down there playing football, less to do the concussion thing, because Ashburn Youth Football League, man, it went to half the teams. But anyhow, I just think that's one of the reasons, and I will end with this. The mystique of the 757 up here, these kids are kind of tired of hearing it. You get 35 and above that remember Curry and all those guys, and they're like, oh, yeah, look at those guys. These younger kids, I don't think. And speaking of Ronald Curry and great players, let's go to Fairfax. Fairfax, a lot of these kids are overrated, but Tony Rojas, everybody, he plays running back and linebacker. He's going to Penn State. He's a top 5 recruit. Fairfax in South County is a great game. And I will tell you, I don't think Freedom wants to face Fairfax, which I have them going. Keith, let's get your input since you've seen both teams, Coach.
Yeah, so Fairfax offense really executes. They don't, they undersized up front, and those guys get after you. You know what I mean? They got a couple of big guys, but for the most part, they just really execute, play. They run the RPO really well. They got a good young offensive coordinator. Anthony Parker is his son, the head coach at West Springfield.
Oh,
yeah. Right. And so Donnell has been doing it for 2 years. Good young guy, knows his stuff. Watched his dad his whole life. So, I mean, Fairfax just looked like they playing with the edge right now. We went against both of them, and we in the first quarter, I want to say against South County, I think it was 0-7 or something. It was a dog fight.
Mm-hmm.
But South Fairfax, I'm talking about, we got them maybe 2-3 and outs, and the rest of the night it was touchdown.
Wow.
And they kind of put it in the hands of that's why I get a coaching staff a lot of props, because we were athletic at Alexandria, so we was able to close in on Rojas before it could get going. They said, no problem, we'll give it to our other back.
Right.
We broke one for 60 on us. It got called back for holding. And then the rest of the night, we were kind of like, okay, if they're going to beat us, it's not going to be him. That's when I realized that this is a good team, because everybody else looked like stars that night. And they have no fear. You know what I'm saying? They just come out, they play hard. They don't really, this is this school, this is that school. They just play.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some good players come out of there. Brandon Royster, Mike Daniels, a number of really good players. And I know they all kind of have a chip on their shoulder because everybody's picking against them. So that's one of the things that Nate Daniels, too, by the way, he's doing a lot up here. But, they're like nobody's giving Fairfax a chance. And I know Rusty's going to chime in on that. So now, Rusty, on the flip side, you're very familiar with South County. People over there. Why don't you give us the South County point of view, and let Keith chime in too, because Keith's coaching them, but I know you know them very well.
Yeah, so part of my analysis is if I coach you or your friend or your family, you're gonna win. So
his family is bigger than
or frat brother.
Yeah, that's right. Boy,
family, yeah.
I texted my frat today and was like, "Y'all got this." But look, it would be the same thing with Keith. If I was always picking Wakefield or TC
Wow,
or
you
Mount
must really
Vernon,
love
because
me.
I would be like, I'm like, my boy over there. But look, so on the real, so yeah, Dennis Jordan, the quarterback over there at Jordan Dennis. His dad, Mike Dennis, is a great athlete. He's got an uncle who's run an excellent wrestling program over there. But Jordan, man, he's the real deal. He was my youth football quarterback for a couple of years. We won Fairfax County Championship, and he can toss it. Now he doesn't have the receiver like he had last year. The kid, I forget his name, and went to East Carolina, but he still got some athletes there. To me, they're like that typical Fairfax team. Keith, you explained it best in the beginning. Like they have the big guys, and then they also have the little brothers, the athletes that they can get it done. And I just, I like what South County can do. And one of the things is because of their experience. They won the state championship 3 years ago. They beat Oscar Smith. Oscar Smith beat them then 2 years ago, and then beat Madison. That Madison team that went to the state championship, they were clearly very good. They were undefeated going into it. But that Smith team was just off the charts, like extremely well put together. And I think they would have beaten most teams. So I don't think it was, a real representation of what Northern Virginia Fairfax teams can produce. All that being said, I'm picking South County to beat Fairfax because I just like Fairfax didn't do it. I don't believe so.
Right.
Oh,
all right. So let's do a round. I'm going to pick Fairfax. Jay, who do you like there? Because I know that you know some things about the program, and then we're going to ask Coach. And before we go to the next game, which is Centerville Madison, another good one.
my pick is Fairfax. My only concern I have about those two teams is their schedule.
Okay.
They didn't play anybody outside their region, except I know South County played Whipridge. It was like the first game of the year. That was it. So, but my only concern about Fairfax down the road is their lack of strength of schedule. Yeah.
Right. And for those out there that are watching that don't know the geography, Western Fairfax County is the other region with Centerville and Madison, even though Madison's kind of in the middle. But you go over, and the way Northern Virginia is, the heavy South County is over towards 95, going towards the Potomac River, and Fairfax is further over towards George Mason. So it's kind of east and west. Before we go to the next game, we're going to talk about Centerville, Madison, and Keith, Coach. What South County need to do? What do they need to execute upon to beat Fairfax? Because you've faced both teams.
They need to be able to slow the game down to a snail's pace. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that probably will give them an edge. I do recall them having a good receiver though. Number 11 for South County.
He was on our show last year, Kirk.
Oh yeah, right. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because he broke the game open against us. I mean, like, I don't like to reminisce about losses, but we were like literally in a dogfight with them. It was 7-0 with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left before halftime. And we went down halftime 20-0, just like that.
Wow.
We fumbled a kickoff return. They scored. We did something else. They got the ball back, and he ran a post. Kid about 6'2", ran a little skinny post and walked in the end zone. And it was just like, how did we get here? 20-0, all within like 90 seconds. So I was impressed that they did that. But Fairfax was just like, listen, you're 5-5, you don't belong here. We're 10-0.
Right.
You know what I mean? From start to finish, like we dusting you dudes. Go something. Get out of here.
Well, like I said, South County has not scored less than 30 points this year, not less than 30. And they have a tradition over the last couple of years. It looks to me, I don't know, how long has that coaching staff been at Fairfax High School? Are they relative? Is it
They've been there 4 years.
Okay, so that was time they've turned it around, because if you go before, like the last 2 years, they've been outstanding in terms of their record. But 3 or 4 years ago, you go back, and before that, they were, you're talking about the program getting like 3-4 wins a year at the most.
Right.
So I don't know if it's the coach, Tony Rojo.
It's coaching. If you know the head coach, man, he's funny, man. He's a different guy. Like, I talked to him like literally like 35 minutes before the game, because we were waiting on the bus. I drove to the game, and I've known him a long time, and he's never been the guy to mess around. Like, he still have his cuts to this day. Like,
wow,
he evaluates guys, and hey, you didn't do what you're supposed to do off season. You're gonna be a cancer. Hey, let me get your equipment. And like, who does that in 2022? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I've seen when he was at South Lakes, I've seen him walk out there with 30 dudes and get it done. Now,
is this the coach that was at South Lakes a few years ago when they had a nice run?
Yeah.
Okay, no, they're legit. Because I went to a football coaches conference, and they were there, and I met and talked to some of those guys. Yeah, I didn't realize it was the same people. Yeah, I saw a couple of those South Lakes teams, and they were balling.
And also people don't know this, is that Pannoni, the former head coach at South County, is also an assistant there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they all right. Then they
back from New Mexico.
Legit.
He's back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll see. Knowing some of those things, Fairfax, they could get it done. But I'm gonna stick with my boy Jordan and everything. So let's go ahead on over to the other bracket. We got Madison playing Centerville. Now, Madison started the season out 0-3, but since then they've won 9 in a row. And Centerville was some of our picks to maybe even have a great chance of winning the state championship. They lost a couple games, but still a really strong program. Who do you like in that, Coach Powell?
Hold on, Coach Powell. I was just going to say, I know everybody subscribed, so you newcomers, go ahead and subscribe. And, Jay, I know that before Coach goes, you got a lot of information on Centerville as well as Madison also. But, Coach, tell us your take on the other side of Fairfax County, which is Centerville and Madison.
Right. So to be honest, I really can't speak on Madison, but I did go against Centerville the year before last when I was at Mount Vernon. And, their running back, for Centerville is the real deal.
Isaiah Ragsdale.
Yeah, he's strong, low to the ground. I was telling one of the assistant coaches at Mount Vernon, they got off the bus and we were like, wow, I guess the pandemic didn't affect everybody.
He found a way to get to the weight room. They isolated and got all the weights sent to their. You remember back during the pandemic, people would try to buy weights and stuff to have in your house.
Oh, yeah, garage.
Could not get them. They were all in Centerville.
They got there. They found a way, man. I was like, this dude's got the bus. I was like, well, I'm glad I'm a coach tonight, not a player. Yeah, but I can't. Honestly, I can't make a call. I would probably lean towards Centerville. I think they senior heavy, from what I understand, and so I would give them a slight edge. But I wouldn't doubt Madison though. They always find a way to win close games because they're going to eat that clock up.
So you said it right there about Madison. Madison, I'm going with Madison. One is they won 9 in a row. Number 2, they're very good coaching.
Yep.
And they know how to win. They just know how to win. They have experience. They've been to the state championship. They've been to the state semis. They've been to regional finals. So they're more experienced than Centerville. So my pick is Madison.
Yeah. Okay. One thing, Rusty, that I remember from last year is Coach Justin Counts, had those guys ready. They came out and actually jumped on Oscar Smith. Right. And they had a fake field goal, which was incredible. and scored a touchdown. Well, I will say this, and Rusty, we saw them against who did we see them against? Westfield.
Westfield.
Very physical. Madison's a very physical team, and yeah. So I know that they're going to be ready. But Jay, Rusty, go ahead, man. I wanted you to continue.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I wanted to say about Westfield also is that it's been a couple of years, it's been about 9 or 10 years, but they won football state championships, and they've had a good tradition of football at that school, especially before Westfield opened. Westfield kind of took a little bit of their kids, Chantilly's kids, a lot of Herndon kids, and became a powerhouse. But Centerville, that program, they take their football serious out there, and they've got athletes. I liked Centerville. It is in Fairfax County, but it reminds me a lot of the Western Prince William County teams, and it is just about 4 miles from the Prince William County line.
Exactly.
And so Centerville, I like their toughness. I like their athletes, and I'm going to pick Centerville to win this game.
All right. All right. Keith, you like Centerville. Rusty, you like Centerville. I can't go back on what I said. I like Centerville also. So I just think
Jay said Madison. Jay said
Madison. Right. And Jay's got Madison. So
and who do we have in the finals? Because the Fairfax team is going to be in the state championship.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to. So great segue, Rusty. So let's talk about whatever these two regions going up against the winner of Freedom Woodbridge and or Western Branch. So I would say this. I think that Fairfax, the winner of Fairfax South County, can beat Freedom Woodbridge. I don't think they're going to, but they can, as well as the Madison Centerville. And that's almost a coin flip. I think that they could also beat Freedom, but I don't think they will. So what's y'all's take on that? Why don't you go first, Jay?
No.
Kirk.
No.
I said they can. I said they won't, but they can. They can.
Speed kills.
All right.
Bottom line. Now, Fairfax High School, Madison, Centerville, and South County, I agree. They're very well coached. Very well coached. They have very good fundamentals, but they lack one thing that I see on the tape, on the film, and that's speed. And whether it's Freedom, Western Branch, or 757, or Woodbridge team, or Patriot team, speed will overrule and will win because those Fairfax County teams. You heard it right here.
Jay, how do you pick against Lindsay Zarniak's school, man?
I remember her too. I remember her when she was in high school. But Centerville, I mean, like Rusty said, I mean, Centerville literally right near Manassas. I mean, it borders Manassas, and it's like a Western Prince William County school. They have athletes, and they're big. Now they're inexperienced. Just going this far, they're inexperienced. But no, Centerville will not beat a Freedom in the state championship. No.
So Coach Cole, at 23 minutes, carve out about a minute. Show this to your team, all you Centerville fans. At 23 minutes, Jay gives you no chance. So that's how it is. So Coach Powell, can anybody beat Freedom? Can Fairfax South County, Madison, Centerville beat Freedom?
I don't want to go against my conference and stuff like that, but any team that can score 91 points before halftime, man, I'm not going against them. And
a running clock.
Right. I mean, like, that just says that this team is special, and I'll be stunned. Like, you guys know Randy Pearson, and had him on the show, and I called him and says, we call him Big P. I said, Big P, Freedom's for real.
Yeah.
I've seen them come up. I guess it was 3 years ago. I was at Hayfield, and we played them, and we had a kid that's at Harvard now.
Right.
He broke one early on him. His name is Scotty Woods. He broke one early on him. I felt like, okay, well, we scored, and that was it. Like,
I announced that game.
You watch it. When I say that was it, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were, and we had JV had played them the night before, and that was a slaughter. They came out there about 30 dudes, and our kids were just, freedom's the real deal, man. I'm not, if I had to put my truck on it, I like my truck, I'm going.
I like that.
Rusty, give us your analysis if any of those teams can beat Freedom.
Here we go. All right. If Freedom can get past Patriot, okay, that's the first one. If Freedom can get past Patriot,
we're going to get to that. Don't go into that yet.
Okay. Then I think the team with the best chance would be Centerville. But I'm going to tell you, with Fairfax and South County has experience, but Fairfax has a dominant player. And sometimes it's harder to dominate in football a little less than in basketball, because you're talking about both sides of the ball. He plays both sides, but you got 10 other kids.
Yeah.
But sometimes just when somebody is that much of a beast, and Freedom has athletes like that themselves. They're, Jeffrey Overton, their receiver Juju, the quarterback. They've got Division I talent. But that's kind of a wild card. So, I think Centerville. I think South County is going to get there, but if Fairfax or Centerville plays Freedom and those star players play like stars, that's what can be the difference.
All right. So we got Patriot in the finals. So for our Prince William County folks, at about 27 minutes, we're in your wheelhouse. So Patriot's going to be playing at Freedom Woodbridge. And Patriot, if you watch our interview with Coach Finnerty, pretty much everything that he says has come to fruition. So
we interviewed Coach Finnerty and Coach Daryl Overton.
Yeah, and by the way,
before the season started.
Kudos to Coach Overton. They're doing a Thanksgiving meal drive tonight, and that's really nice to see those kids doing that. And we've had TJ Bush on and his partner, but
Mark Arena.
Yeah, Mark. Sorry about that, Mark. What's going on with this game? I think that Freedom hasn't seen a good team in a bit since probably Stonebridge. And what's your thoughts, Jay? Because we got a little bit of mix of opinions here. I know Hudson Byrd thinks that Patriot may be able to beat Freedom. Jay, you're the announcer. So what's your take on that?
Well, the game, it's about matchups. And like I said, for Patriot, in my opinion, Sam Fernandez and Gabe Bigby are, to me, have Division I talent, and they're good ball players. However, before I go on, Sam has faced Sean Murphy, last year. He faced Tyleek Williams. He's faced Amari Campbell.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. But he's never faced the defensive backs that Freedom has. And they have 3 men back there who have Division I talent, that I feel that the receivers and Sam can't get past.
Yeah.
And I think that, and also on the defensive side, against John Champ, they expose Patriots defense. And you have Jeff Overton back there, you have EJ Reed to the right, you have Cam Courtney to the left, you have Juju Preston in the slot. This is too much. There's too much power. You can't stop that.
Right.
So it's going to be a long day for Patriot. Long day.
Okay.
Good team, but it's be a long day.
All right. So 50% of this panel pays taxes in Prince William County. So Rusty, I know they're getting you for those Maseratis that you own and that horse stables. So the question is, Mr. Byrd, what is your take? Patriot? You want to listen up to this?
All right. So again, my analysis is that Freedom is the team that can do it. I think, but going into the season, I said Patriot would be the team that, if anybody's going to give them problems. I thought this would be the regional final. It reminds me of last year with Battlefield when I think we were all a little, even though Battlefield was undefeated going into the game, I thought we were all a little probably surprised that Battlefield beat Freedom. The difference this time is that Freedom is at home, but I still think Patriot has some ballers. Now, and granted, Freedom has them too, but you can't sleep on the fact that they have an offensive lineman going to a Power 5 school. They've got like Jay always says, Bigby's gonna be Bigby, So, and Sam Fernandez was on our show, great athlete, also an excellent basketball player. And Eddie Henry, again, another player I coached, defensive back, that had an incredible interception last week. I think I taught him that.
Eddie's good. I like it.
Eddie's good, and I think the biggest thing for me that Patriot is going to bring is they are not going to be scared. They are not going to be afraid. This is Prince William County. These kids played against each other growing up, whether it was Gainesville, APYFL, or Playmakers and Manassas. They're not going to be scared. And so I think it's like this. We saw Champ go blow for blow with Freedom in the first quarter and a half.
And Garfield.
And Garfield. And I think it's one of those things where if Patriot doesn't make like a big coaching mistake, I thought Champ made a big mistake in that they went for it on that fourth down and they were like at 35, and as soon as Freedom got the ball, they scored, and like right then the wind went out of their sails. Yep. And so Champ, like I said, they put 35 up on Freedom. Now Freedom got 70, but I think we've seen Patriot, when Patriot played Champ, they went back and forth and Patriot did not die. They put up 70 to Champ's 50. So this is going to be, I'm not going to say this is the state championship, but I think if Freedom gets by this, they will win. I'm picking Freedom to win, but none of y'all be surprised if Patriot wins, because I'm going to let you know. I'm going to be screaming.
One more thing, add on about Battlefield last year. I'm going to say, I said it 3 times in a row. I'm going to say it again. Difference between last year and this year for Freedom is one man, T.J. Bush. He's the straw that stirs the drink. And he's one that's why he's one guy in there that the line for Patriot, it'll be problems.
So Cole Suber, does he play left or right tackle?
He plays right. He plays right tackle. And I would love to see. I mean, if
TJ's on the other side,
if Patriots, if Woodbridge is smart, they'll put TJ Bush on the other side.
Exactly.
Right, but they've got a.
Personally, I don't think TJ gonna have a problem with no matter what side he's on. TJ.
He's
TJ is TJ.
Yeah, TJ is get Digby.
Yeah, Cole Serber. There you go. Cole Serber, future Wahoo. I got you going to the NFL as a guard. There you go. They think TJ Bush is going to eat you up. So, all right. So let's go on to this. We have a consensus that Freedom is going to win, and you're saying Patriot can beat them. I don't think so. I'd give it like 10, 15 to 1 odds. But
okay.
So the question is this. All right. Next week, Freedom is going to be facing a Manchester or a Western Branch team. I can tell you this. They have not seen athletes like Western Branch. So
hold on a second, Kirk. I
mean, yes, they have. Yes,
hold on a second.
Chesterfield and Richmond, they've seen athletes.
Let me say one thing about Western Branch. They got to travel all the way to Richmond, win that game, go back to Western Branch. Next Saturday, come all the way up to Woodbridge. You can't do it. It ain't going to happen.
First of all, so the Western Branch drive isn't that bad. They're not going to Richmond.
Right up
Chesapeake. They're going Chesapeake to Chesterfield, and they're just going right up 460. They'll be fine. That's not a bad bus ride.
You know, men travel.
Rusty,
let's get the expert in here, though. Let's get Coach Powell. What you think? Tell us. Tell us your thoughts, man. What about Western Branch, Manchester?
Well, that's when you'll find out what freedom's made of. You know what I mean? Because it's always different when the Tidewater boys come up. Everybody
It
knows
is.
that.
It is.
You know, it's just different because the Tidewater guys, just different. Like I was talking to my son today about, he transferred to Hampton High junior senior year, and when he was in Northern Virginia, he's 6'2", 275, and half the team was scared of him. Jay got there, like from the moment word go, it was, me versus you. I don't care where you going, who you are. They
right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so the mentality and the culture is different. Like me and my brother joke all the time about the Tidewater area will always live on because when we go home to visit for breaks and stuff and we riding through the hood, we see little jokers in the front yard playing football.
Yes. Yes.
They ain't got a nickel to their name. They playing football.
And their stars are the high school players. They want to emulate the high school players.
High school players, yeah.
Right.
So,
that's right.
So
I wanted to be like the guys at Hampton High. When I grew up across from Robert E. Lee and Lee Heights, and that was where I first started playing football at like 6, 7, 5 years old, playing in the front yard. I wanted to be like the Hampton Crabbers.
Yeah, I wanted to be Sherwood Jones. He had a brother named Stan Jones.
Yeah,
I wanted to be Stan Jones.
Yeah.
So I would go to the house and just peek at him sometime.
All right.
Yeah.
So
we're
going to wrap up.
That was my thought, Marco Stacy. I wanted to be.
All right, Prince William County doesn't want to hear about Hampton Crabbers. So I know everybody's already subscribed, and if you haven't, you're like, I know Coach Powell hadn't, so we need him to do it to hook his boys up. But I would say that
it's a technology thing. I'll do it. My wife will do it.
So to circle back, I think Patriot's going to win the state championship.
Whoa!
Patriot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Freedom Woodbridge. I said that on purpose, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think Freedom Woodbridge, but they are beatable. Unlike the Phoebus Invitational 3, and we're going to talk about Brentsville, and the Highland Springs Invitational. So I would say that, Freedom, Coach Overton, bring home the trophy, a lot of expectations. So let's talk about Brentsville real quick. Let's wrap up. Brentsville at 38 minutes, you want to start watching. You want to watch the whole thing, but everybody in Brentsville district, I want y'all to know you have no chance against Phoebus, where I was. And they are loaded. So anyway, Jay, talk to us about Brentsville because they lost the Kettle Run mightily. So, and they're going to face a Phoebus team that is just like, man, what's your thoughts?
Here's my thing. And I love Brentsville, but my problem is they have not beat a team this year with a winning record. And I know. And so, you play one team, Kettle Run, you get blown out. You play a team, you beat 42-0 on Friday night, play them again. And then you got to play Phoebus at Darling Stadium.
Right.
So it's going to be, like you said, Kirk, I hate to say that's going to be a long game against Phoebus. And like I said, I don't see that happening because they played nobody all year.
They got a 10-hour bus ride too,
Yeah.
All right.
So, but I want them to win. I want them to win, but if I had to bet money, like Rusty says, if I had to bet money, no, Phoebus. Here you go.
If the only way I would bet on Brentsville is if I was betting on Keith's truck. And
yeah.
So
yeah. I'm not putting my truck up.
All right, Brentsville.
Now, let me just real quick, Brentsville. I said this before, just so you know. Big fan of Coach Lauren White. I was on the sideline for their first round game. They won 56-13, and I interviewed their all region quarterback Caleb Alexander, and we've had on the show Tyler Nix, last year's all region offensive and defensive player of the year. Look,
and
Tyler
Will Johnson. Shout out to
Will Johnson. That's right. Absolutely.
Great kids.
Great kids. And going to Brentsville, the only thing I say is they are a really, really good Class 3 team, but I think that's where they look like it's a Class 3 team, whereas Phoebus plays in a district with 4 and 5, but they're built like a big Class 6 team. And I know Phoebus doesn't like to talk about, oh, class doesn't matter, but no, this kind of does. It makes that much of a difference. It's like if Brentsville only has one Tyler Nix, Phoebus has 7 of them, you know. And I think that's and then athlete wise, Brentsville has some really good backs, really good receivers, and like I said, Caleb is an outstanding quarterback. But when you go to Phoebus, you're talking about you know, Jordan Bass, 4-star, great athlete, going to Pitt, had 5 touchdowns against Oscar Smith, and he could have scored more, but it was a real running clock the second half. And so I just think that I think Phoebus's toughest game will be Lake Taylor. I think Brentsville won't be as tough. And then I think Liberty Christian could pose the only challenge in the state championship just because they can recruit, and I don't know.
Is that the private school?
Yep.
Yeah, that's private school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's not get on that.
Yeah.
Christiansburg going to beat
Lord Botetourt.
Yeah, and they're so that's going to be a state championship team. But
okay,
Liberty Christian Academy. Real quick, we'll go through it. Rusty and I have seen him play. I've seen him play more than once. So I would say, here's your scouting report. Okay. Their offensive line is very good. They've got some players. They're big. They're physical. And I would say that the quarterback, Nolan Boozy James, great quarterback, underrated. He's probably going to end up going somewhere. I don't know, as a quarterback, he played a bunch of positions, but throws a great ball. Jordan Bass is a very underrated player. Guy's one of the best I've seen. 6'4", 213 pounds, 3% body fat. And he carries himself very good. He's got an unbelievable confidence and swagger, but he's not a cocky kid. If Brentsville shuts down Jordan Bass, they got Keontae Gray, which is a first-team all-district. They've got Ty Taylor, who's a running back. Speed. So that's the thing about Brentsville. They won't see speed like Phoebus in physicality. So, and on the defensive side, they've got Anthony Reddick, who's also underrated. He's a 6'4", 220-pound, going to probably be a 4 or 5-star recruit. You know, everybody's looking at him. He's at one end. They've got Caleb Tillery, great linebacker. Michael McMullen, unbelievable defensive tackle, who's probably going to be Power 5. They've got Jordan Bass at safety, so he's taken a lot away, by the way. And so they are, you know, really, really good. And Tayshawn Stevenson's a great linebacker, utility player, plays all around. And watch out for number 8. But they are big, physical, fast, athletic, and they will come out hyped up. So Brentsville, again, we've said this in other segments, nobody's giving you a chance. So motivated, no. And, you know, we like the kids there. It's not about the kids. It's just that, you know, we call it like we see it. We think Highland Springs is going to beat whoever they play. Stonebridge, listen up. You know, those other teams, listen up. So, before we close it out, let's make sure that you guys subscribe to us, and we're going to be putting out some more episodes as things get closer. And, you know, Old Dominion University's coming up, and Liberty University, spectacular facilities down there, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Salem has the 1 and 2 teams. So, and also, for you Brentsville folks, we've got Coach White on, as well as Will and Tyler Nix. So any closing thoughts before we go, Jay? Anything inflammatory, Jay? We know they love you, Prince William. Yeah.
All I gotta say is Saturday, 2 p.m., biggest game in Prince William County. Freedom will beat Patriot. Patriot, you had a great year, great careers, but Saturday, that's going to be it.
Put it on the bulletin board.
All right. Yeah. Yep. So we've got looks like we've got Freedom in the finals against probably who? Centerville.
No. I would say Fairfax.
Fairfax. I think
I'm
everybody
sorry,
Fairfax. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. I'm hoping that South County takes care of Fairfax. All right, guys. Look, this has been fun. Coach Powell, are you going to be going to any of these games?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it to at least one of these games. I'm going to see a Crabber this Saturday at Temple. Jay Red, All-American at NSU, and then transferred to East Carolina his senior year. Him and my son played beside each other, so this is his last game on Saturday. Okay. But I'm gonna catch one of these games, man. I think I want to get in Freedom.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see Freedom bad. So
yeah. Okay. Hey, look, guys. Thank you again for being on the show. You have great analysis, and you got real credentials. Much more than Kirk. Not me, but Kirk. No, Kirk's my man.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Jay's got Freedom Woodbridge out to be the hood. So they're right by Nova Community College. And my question is this: do you have to go through a metal detector like you do where we live? And you can't walk around to the other side, which is horrible. Is it that way, Jay?
Yeah, and cold hamburgers. No, I'm joking. No, it's safe. It's safe.
Yeah, it's very safe.
I'm worried.
It's safe. Yeah.
Look, I'll say this, man. I've been saying this for years. Freedom's got kids from all levels of income, but that doesn't really matter. They got great heart, they got great coaching, and they're very disciplined and very, very, very smart kids. And I'm very proud of them representing Prince William County.
Coach Overton.
Also, at Freedom High School. Oh, go ahead. Also, too, at Freedom, it's also the HBCU experience on Saturday. So, Patriot, be prepared for the band.
Again, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a Nova boy. You got to go to Portsmouth to IC Norfolk, man. IC Norfolk.
All right.
Ending note, Rusty, this is a fact, man. Sorry, they did not have a white student for 3 years, and their band was rocking like 35 years ago. So there we go. All right, Jay.
All right, man. Y'all, hey, look, this has been great. I appreciate you again. Thanks again, Coach Powell. Yeah. Thanks, Godfather. And thanks to my co-host, Kirk Hilliard. This has been the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are out.